How can you respond with love when there's chaos and upheaval all around you? What does respond with love mean? Does it mean change the world so that you can become loving again? No, that won't work. It's not what is all around you that is significant. It is what is inside of you that is significant. What is behind your eyes holds more power than what is in front of them. That is the new consciousness. Remember a time when you were loved and loving, and you knew that. It might have been with a parent or a grandparent or a child or a dear friend. Go back there and then choose to act or speak from that part of your personality while you are experiencing the frightened part of your personality, with each choice to respond with love instead of react with fear. You gain power over that part of your personality, and eventually its control over you disappears. Today I'm going to discuss with you a question that is coming to me from countries in different parts of the world in response to the election in the United States. How can you respond with love when there is chaos and political upheaval around you? Remember, this podcast exists to talk about and share and celebrate a new human consciousness that's unprecedented and epic. And this new human consciousness is emerging now. It's been emerging for a generation and a half, and will continue to do so for another generation and a half. In other words, we're in the midst of a transformation of human consciousness unlike any before in the history of humanity. What is this new consciousness? The old consciousness is limited to the perceptions of the five senses. From that consciousness, if something can't be heard or seen or tasted or touched or smelled, it doesn't exist. It's imagination or fantasy or illusion or delusion. The new consciousness does not have these limitations. Now, the last two generations, millennials and Gen Z, will not know what I'm talking about when I say the new consciousness, because for them, what I'm calling the new consciousness is consciousness. They were born with it. These are among the first generations that were born with the new awareness. And they're not aware of the difference between the old consciousness and the new consciousness, but they are aware of the reality that our world is not working any longer. It's crumbling. Nothing is functioning. And everything that used to make it better is now making it worse. And they want to contribute. It's important to them to contribute. I understand that. There's another thing about the new consciousness that's different from the old consciousness. In the old consciousness, the understanding of power was the ability to manipulate and to control. In the new consciousness, the understanding of power is the alignment of your personality with your soul. That means with harmony and cooperation and sharing and reverence for life. And more than that, the old understanding of power is now poison. It's toxic. It used to be our good medicine. It used to be required for humans to survive. Now, it produces the opposite. It prevents our evolution and threatens it, in fact. This is new terrain. The human species has never been here before. We stand with one foot in the old consciousness and one foot in the new. And every time we need to make a choice, and that's every moment, we choose between one or the other, the old consciousness or the new consciousness. Well, let's put those in personal, experiential terms. Let's call the old consciousness fear. Fear that we experience as anger, judgment, rage, resentment, superiority, inferiority, obsessions, compulsions, every addiction. All of these are experiences of fear. That's the old consciousness. Well, how's the new consciousness different? We experience the new consciousness as gratitude, appreciation, caring, contentment, patience, and awe of the universe. Well, these are things that humans have always experienced, but they've always come as blessings, and they are blessings. What's new now is we can choose them. We can bless ourselves with these experiences. How do we do that? That's the creation of authentic power. The old power, external power, manipulation and control begins with looking at the world outside, because the assumption is that it's the world outside that's causing our emotional pain. But it's not. That's just how things appear from the old consciousness. And so from the old consciousness, it's natural to try to change the world when you're in emotional pain, because that seems to be the only way you can change it. From the new consciousness, everything is different. And when you're in emotional pain or confusion, then the first thing that individuals with a new consciousness do when they're aware of the power of what they can now do is look inward instead of outward. Instead of looking at the world and trying to change that, which is the pursuit of external power, they look inward at themselves, and they look for internal dynamics. And it's these internal dynamics that are activated by what happens in the world. And it's these internal dynamics that create the painful experiences of fear. So the question is, how can I respond in love when there is chaos and political upheaval all around me? From the old consciousness, the only answer that seems like it could be effective is change the world. Change the world so that it's not chaotic. Change the world so that it's not in upheaval. But that doesn't work. It didn't matter who was elected president in the United States. All of our social structures, which means all of our world as we know it, are disintegrating. They're no longer serving us as they did. In fact, they no longer serve our evolution at all. So from this new perspective, which is your perspective, I know that because you wouldn't be listening to a podcast like this one if it were not. The answer is to how can you respond with love when there is chaos and upheaval all around you is, what does respond with love mean? Does it mean change the world so that you can become loving again? No, that won't work. Try it. And you'll see that exercising the pursuit of external power produces only violence and destruction. Emotional violence and destruction between individuals, and physical violence and destruction between nations. When the world is chaotic and there is upheaval all around you, look inside yourself. Look at your interior dynamics that were impossible to discern from the old consciousness, but now are very available to you. They are your new life. When you look inside yourself, the first place you can look is in your energy processing centers. And by that I mean, take 3 of them. You have 7, but here's 3. Your throat area, your chest area, and your solar plexus. When you are feeling painful emotions, you will also be feeling painful physical emotions in those areas. In the East, they're called chakras, but we'll call them energy processing centers because that's what they do. They process energy. And as energy passes through your body, entering through the crown of your head and moving down through these energy processing centers to the lowest one at the base of your torso and then back up again, as they pass through these energy processing centers, they are processed. How? They are processed in love or they are processed in fear. And when they're processed in fear, that's how you know that a frightened part of your personality is active in you if you didn't know it before. You'd know it before if you're angry or shouting or jealous or resentful. But just in case you didn't know and you thought that you weren't jealous, your body will tell you otherwise when you do this. When you put your attention into your energy processing centers, in this case, throat, chest, and solar plexus, and see what physical sensations are present. And when a frightened part of your personality is active, those physical sensations will be painful, physically painful. For example, aching, throbbing, burning, stabbing, stinging, contracting, hot, uncomfortable, or painful. And not only that, the thoughts that this frightened part of your personality will be thinking will always be critical or judgmental of yourself or of others. For example, I understand this. Why am I even wasting my time listening to it? Or, I'll never understand this. I'm not as smart as other people. I just don't get it. Or, she's so stupid. Or, I'm so stupid. These are the thoughts that frightened parts of your personality always think. So when you detect those thoughts, and when you feel the painful physical sensations in your energy processing centers, you know that fear is active in you, and fear is creating these painful experiences, these reactions to chaos and upheaval, reactions to the world not being the way the frightened parts of your personality demand it to be. When that happens, you can use your willpower, your volition, to direct your attention to a loving part of your personality. Those are the parts that we experience, as I mentioned, as gratitude and patience and caring and appreciation and awe of the universe. Put yourself into one of those loving parts of your personality. In other words, remember a time when you were loved and loving, and you knew that. It might have been with a parent or a grandparent or a relative or a child or a neighbor or a dear friend. Put yourself in that energy. Go back there. And then choose to act or speak from that part of your personality while you are experiencing the frightened part of your personality with its painful physical sensations and judgmental, critical thoughts. That's the moment of creating authentic power. That's it. That's where the rubber meets the spiritual road. And as you do this repeatedly, the frightened part of your personality that you are challenging, and that's how you challenge it. This is called creating authentic power. That frightened part of your personality begins to lose its control over you. It still comes. You still feel its painful physical sensations. You still see it thinking its judgmental and critical thoughts, but they don't penetrate you as much as before. They begin to roll off of you like water off the feathers of a duck. And as you challenge it again and again in this way, as you create authentic power again and again, with each choice to respond with love instead of react with fear, you gain power over that part of your personality. And eventually, its control over you disappears. So now let's go back to our question. How can you respond with love when there's chaos and upheaval all around you? This is how you can create authentic power. You only have two choices. Our experiences are all unfolding in a domain that we can call the Earth School. It's a domain of time and space and matter and duality and fear. None of these exist beyond the Earth School. That is non-physical reality. And there's no time experience there, or fear, or matter, or duality, or space. Love is always one of your choices, and fear is always the other. Duality means that for every this, there is a that. And that's the Earth School. And the fundamental duality in it is love and fear. The opposite of love is not hate, it's fear. So what will you choose, love or fear? And who cares? You care once you understand what you're choosing. Because when you choose to act with fear, that is the quality of consciousness that infuses your words and your deed, and it creates painful, destructive, unhealthy consequences for you. For you. And when you choose to act instead from love, that is the quality of consciousness that infuses your deed and your words. It's not what you say, and it's not what you do that creates consequences for you. It's the intention behind them. It's the intention, not the action and not the word. The golden rule that was introduced to our species while it was entirely five sensory, for the most part, about 2,000 years ago, says, do unto others what you would have them do to you. Well, as multisensory humans, which we are on this podcast, we can bring that up to date. Here is the golden rule expressed with the clarity and perception of the new consciousness. Intend for your neighbors what you want your neighbors to intend for you. Do you intend to exploit your neighbor? To get the most from your neighbor that you can and pay for the least? Or do you intend for your neighbor that he or she be joyful, be healthy, be fulfilled, live lives of meaning, purpose, and appreciation? How does it feel to think that your neighbor intends that for you? You be that neighbor. That's your ability. That's what you can do when the world around you is chaotic and there is upheaval in it. The fact that you would use the words chaotic rather than just the way the world is at this moment means that you are judging it. And that means that a frightened part of your personality has judged it. From the old consciousness, a personality is a single thing, and sometimes it's happy, and sometimes it's sad and angry at other times. But from the new consciousness, a personality has many parts, many. Some originate in fear. They're all painful. They all create destructively when you act on them. And some originate in love. They all feel good, all of them. And when you act in their energy, you create healthy, constructive, blissful, fulfilling, vital, joyful consequences for yourself. If you're enjoying anything you're hearing on this podcast, subscribe to it. Now, what do I mean by enjoy? Do I mean, is it entertaining for you? Does it make you laugh? Does it make you forget your worries? That's not what I mean. I mean, do you resonate with anything that I say as relevant, profound, and pertinent for you, not for the world, for you? Something that you can use, something that you can experiment with in your life. If you do, if you resonate, then subscribe, because there's more where this comes from. It comes from the universe, as do you. Now, look at the question again. What can you do to respond with love when there is chaos and upheaval all around you? It's not what is all around you that is significant. It is what is inside of you that is significant. What is behind your eyes holds more power than what is in front of them. That is the new consciousness. That is your consciousness. And this podcast is intended by me to help you recognize it if you don't already, and to use it if you're not already. Because when you are, you begin to move yourself into a position of mastery in your life. You become an artist, and your life becomes the canvas. What colors do you choose? beautiful rainbow colors of vibrancy and health, or dull, deep, depressing colors that are drab and pull you down. They don't pull you down. You're already down, or you wouldn't be seeing the world in those colors. What does down mean? It means that a frightened part of your personality is active, and you have a choice. You can put an arm's length between you and the frightened part of your personality when it becomes active with your emotional awareness. And you can choose not to act on that part of your personality. That's a responsible choice. And when you do those things, you are challenging the frightened parts of your personality and cultivating the loving parts. That's what you were born to do. We're learning to love in the Earth School. Authentic power is love. And this is how you experience it in yourself. There's no other way, except by temporary moments of grace. But creating authentic power allows you to make these experiences of grace, of love, of gratitude, of appreciation, of caring, your ongoing, stabilized experience of life. That's your choice. It's always your choice. And I'll always support you. That's the same as saying the universe will always support you. Enjoy that. Enjoy yourself. All is perfect. I'm looking forward to speaking with you again next time. I'm Gary Zukav.